Hi there, welcome. I've been asked to give a kind of orientation for the day, and it's nice to see lots of people I know and lots of people I don't know. So we live in interesting times, as they say, or rather extraordinary times, with extraordinary connections between people and places across the world and extraordinary destruction of people and places across the world. We live in a time when we're at the brink, when we're alive right now at this brink, at this moment, when we may be past, or we may be about to be past, or we may not have to go past, the tipping point towards a kind of ecological meltdown. Because of the 30-year time lag in emissions impacting on the climate, we're in this period where, unless we stop things before we've already seen the evidence of what they can do, it'll be too late to stop them at all. So we live in extraordinary times. But then people have always lived in extraordinary times. There's always been this struggle to maintain relationship, to maintain connectedness, to maintain our feet on the ground, in conflict and in contrast and in connection to those other aspects of being human which have tried to dominate, tried to see their well-being, our well-being, my well-being in being better than you, in standing here and speaking, so I'm worth something and you're not. All that nonsense that we get caught in, that we believe to be true about ourselves. It's always been like this. So in a way we live in extraordinary times, but that's nothing unusual. This is just how it is being human, trying to remain connected to the ground, to each other, to what matters to us, to care, trying not to get caught up in power and position and place. So that's one thing I just wanted to say, was this is the time we live in. This is where we are. It's an extraordinary moment to be here, and let's make the most of it. The other thing I wanted to ask was the question that's been rattling around my mind for a long time, which is change possible? Is it possible to turn around this Titanic? Is it possible to turn around this huge momentum of economic growth and ecological destruction? When you look back at history, when you look at the Berlin Wall falling, women getting the vote, end of apartheid, when you look back, it always looks like it was inevitable that was going to happen. But for the people who are struggling to make those things happen, it always looked pretty impossible. They hoped against the odds that it could happen, and it happened. So change looking forward always looks impossible. Change looking back always looks like it was inevitable. And what makes the creative difference in the present seems to be a real commitment by people to making that change happen, despite the fact that everyone around them is saying, don't be such an idiot, it's not possible, you can't do it. So as an anthropologist, which is my training and what I love doing, which is basically hanging out with people and trying to understand how the hell we live, and how the hell we can live so differently, and yet at the same time live in such connected and similar ways. As an anthropologist, what I look at and I see that change is absolutely fundamental to being human. It's what we're doing all the time. There's a huge effort in maintaining a status quo because change is actually the movement that humans have. And it may be moving in a way that you like or don't like, but that movement is really fundamental to who we are. So I want to just suggest there are three levels to transition. There's the transition that's happening inevitably as we hit peak oil, as we destroy the resources upon which our lives are based. There's that transition that's happening anyway. You don't have to be part of the transition movement to be part of that transition. It's something that we're all part of. The transition movement is part of a much broader movement that's attempting to make that change something good, make that change a way of kicking an addiction, rather than making that change something that just becomes dislocation and destruction. So at one level, transition is just happening. At another level, we can make a choice about being part of a movement in whatever way, whether it's transition or another one, but that is trying to make that transition in a fruitful and life-giving way. But then at the third level down, transition is just who we are. In a sense, fundamental to who we are the connections that we have with other people and places, are those relationships. So again, transition is unarguably happening, not just negatively, because that's what's happening to society more generally and the economy more generally, but transition is what's happening to us right now. I'm speaking, I'm changing what I'm speaking as I'm saying it, you're listening, you may be changing your thoughts in response, in reaction, whatever else. Connection is who we are, transition is who we are. That's just how it is, I'd suggest. Please disagree, that's part of a connection. Okay, so this conference came out of really wanting to find transitions connections with other ways in which people are resourcing themselves and responding to the way the world is just now. Make connections with other ways of responding across the world and other ways of responding in Scotland and in Europe more generally. So our questions were, what are our resources? What are we up against? And how can we connect the transitions? And obviously the format of the weekend is over that. We're going to be starting off with real resources from Rob and Jonathan and Alistair. So that's kind of basic overview, I guess.